there's a certain sound. It's blurry, thick, hazy, dreamy. There are so many different words we use to describe it. And somehow, that sound evokes a sense of nostalgia, a fading distant memory. That sound is the sound of chorus. So, what is chorus? The basic idea is pretty simple. Take a sound and make a copy of it. Then take that copy and start modulating its pitch up and down. This results in this wobbly sound, an effect that's called vibrato. Now, combine this back with the original sound and you get a thicker, unstable sound. That is chorus. If you think about it, chorus makes a sound blurrier, less defined. And this blending of something defined and recognizable with an imperfect, modulated and distorted copy of itself could be what gives it this uncanny, otherworldly, dreamy quality. The original idea for the effect, though, is much simpler. Chorus resembles the way a human choir sounds. Everyone in a choir is singing the same melody. But everyone is ever so slightly off in pitch and time.
Alle Menschen werden Brüder, wo sein sanfter Flügel weilt.
When combined, this gives the choir its characteristic thick sound. And the same is also true with the string instruments in an orchestra. So, as an idea, chorus has its roots in the physical world. And humans have built many instruments that can naturally produce chorusy sounds. The most obvious is the piano, where most keys control a hammer that strikes 3 strings, each tuned to almost the same pitch. 12-string guitars, dulcimers, and various traditional folk string instruments follow the same logic. This same idea was introduced in electric instruments with the Hammond organ in the 30s. Then, during the 60s, Ken Townsend, who was an engineer at Abbey Road Studios, where the Beatles were recording, devised the automatic double tracking effect, or ADT. So, what is double tracking? Singers often record multiple takes of the exact same vocal line, which are then layered to create a thicker sound. John Lennon famously hated this process. With the invention of ADT, engineers could now use a single vocal take and layer it with a modulated version of itself. And Lennon could use the extra time to hang out with Yoko Ono or do acid on the roof of the studio, or both. But the deep, dreamy chorus sound we are talking about today has its roots in 1975 with the Roland Jazz Chorus guitar amplifier. The Jazz Chorus had a built-in analog chorus effect that proved immensely popular with guitarists. It was so popular that Roland decided it would be a great idea to release a standalone hardware version of the chorus aimed at keyboard players or guitarists that wanted that sound without having to haul around the rest of that massive amp. So they created a pretty chunky, by today's standards, pedal effect, the Boss Chorus Ensemble, or CE1, which also happens to be the first pedal ever released under the Boss name. Boss would soon become almost synonymous with compact effect pedals after the introduction of their now iconic compact pedal format in 1977, which I'm sure that many consider the default of what a guitar pedal looks like. So, soon enough, in 1979, Boss would port the CE1 into the guitar-specific, slightly more tweakable and compact CE2. The simplicity and affordability of the CE2 made that sound suddenly available to everyone. And then the 80s happened, and chorus took over everything. Pop. Post-punk. New wave. And it wasn't just pedals. Chorus came in large rack effect units and even built into synthesizers. But as the decade moved on, producers also moved on to a cleaner, brighter, and more hi-fi digital chorus sound. Think of hair metal guitar verses and power ballads. Definitely not my cup of tea, and probably the ubiquity of that chorus sound started making it kind of a cliché. So in the 90s, the appetite for chorus in popular music waned significantly. Maybe with a few exceptions. More recently though, we've seen a new appreciation for vintage chorus. Thick, lush textures, even full-on wobbly brains are melting sounds. And this style of lush analog chorus is what inspired us to create our own device, VOOTH. VOOTH is a chorus chorus for Ableton Live. It emulates classic analog 80s sounds, but it can also go much further. We use it all the time, and we think it sounds amazing. You can get VOOTH as well as our other devices from the link in the description. And in doing so, you really help our channel grow so we can keep making videos and devices like this. And if you want to give us feedback and feature requests, come join us on Discord and drop me a message. So, why does analog chorus sound so nostalgic and dreamy? Obviously, we tend to associate that sound with the late 70s and 80s, and there's still a lot of nostalgia now for those times. But a lot of us didn't experience or remember experiencing those years. I'd argue that our perception and our memories of that era are heavily influenced by the imperfect media it was captured and recorded on, be it old MTV video clips or VHS home tapes of family vacations and gatherings, for instance. So all VHS tapes, especially in their current condition 40-odd years later, have given this footage this soft, grainy, imprecise aesthetic that feels almost like a fading memory or a dream. And the hazy, wobbly sound of analog chorus is the perfect audio equivalent to that, and also the perfect way to evoke with sound these associated aesthetics and dreamlike vibes. Kinda like how kids these days think the 2000s looked like a Sony Cybershot video and sounded like low bitrate MP3. Now, those of you out there that are musicians and are interested in mastering the perfect vintage chorus sound, you should check out our next video where we get a bit more technical and provide quite a few audio demos. For everyone else, may I interest you in one of our other recent videos, and I will see you soon on Mixed Signals. Bye bye!